So we are so excited to have our first annual Juneteenth themed Family Free Day. The Family Free Days is also an inaugural educational program that we've started here at the Rosa Parks Museum. So every third Saturday of the month in the summer, between May and August, we'll have Family Free Days where all families get in free, whatever a family is to you. So all families are welcome and get in, have complimentary admission to the Rosa Parks Museum, and then we'll have each Family Free Day has a theme, and so we're excited to offer for June's theme, Juneteenth. So we're celebrating the end of enslavement in America and celebrating freedom. And so we're welcoming everyone on Family Free Days. We hope that this becomes, this museum becomes a destination location for everyone to come to when they want to enjoy themselves, when they want to have a meaningful experience at a museum.
Good morning. Welcome to the Rosa Parks Museum. On behalf of Troy University, I would like to welcome Ms. Faye Calhoun. She is an acclaimed speaker and best-selling author who travels the country presenting the information that you're going to see today to people of all ages. So if you will join me in welcoming Ms. Faye Calhoun.
Thank you, Donna. Can you hear me? Yes. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I want you to stand where you are, those who can. I did not come to speak to you. I came to speak with you. And it's going to take all of us celebrating Juneteenth. Are we on the same page? Yes. Good, very good. We're going to say it real simple. The first time, come on in this house. Come on in this house. Come on in this house. Then come on in this place. Come on in this place. Come on in this place. Then come on in Troy University, Rosa Parks Museum. I'm going to see just how good our rhythm is. So I'm going to need you to help me, and I help you, and we'll both become empowered as we celebrate. Good enough? Yeah. You ready? Y'all are real ready, I can tell. On the count of three, we're going to start. And it's no such thing as getting it right the first time, and we don't, because they say that. People of color have rhythm, so I want to see how much rhythm we really have. High five. I love it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Come on in this house. Come on in this house. Come on in this house. Donna, move. Come on in this house. Come on in this house. Come on in this house. Now play. Come on in this house. Come on in this place. 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 Where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? Troy University, Rosa Parks Museum. Troy University, Rosa Parks Museum. Troy University, Rosa Parks Museum. Come on, young people, help me out. Y'all help me out. I want you to feel alive and feel like we're celebrating. Why are we celebrating? What are we celebrating? I can't hear you. Juneteenth. You may be seated. Thank you. Let us give a round of applause for Troy University. Oh, she got it. Round of applause. I like it. That's the way they come to do it at the school. We want to publicly thank Troy University, Rosa Parks Museum. I understand that this is the inaugural Juneteenth celebration, the first. It is my hope, prayer, and belief that it will be the first of many to come. We want to thank Bill, we want to thank Donna, we want to thank Barbara, who was kind enough to put my name in the hat. Please come closer, please come closer, please come closer. We just finished our chant. We were expecting you. Come on in this house. 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 Say it, baby. I hear you. I hear you. Yes, come on, come on. It's so amazing when we talk about a celebration. That's a great time. That's a happy time. Each one of us need each other. And had Major General Garrison not gotten the word so late to Texas, 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation 2 years later, we would not be celebrating Juneteenth today. June 19, 1865 was when Texas found out that slavery had ended, that slavery was no more. That's a reason to celebrate, don't you think? Yeah. And it's a very sad thing when another human being looks at other human beings as property. We're all God's children, red, yellow, black, and white, and polka dotted, we say. He loves us one and all. And if he can do it, don't you think we can truly love each other as we are? In spite of our differences, I've learned that it's not color that separates us. It's the content of our character. And each one of us can just think for a moment, if everybody was just like me, would it be an exciting time? Not all the time. Would it be boring sometimes if everybody was the same? I think so. So it takes all of us being diversified, being different, and coming together in spite of our differences. I thought, how befitting. Some people are going through Ramadan, where they are working on atonement and generosity and being kinder. And then we think about 1 year ago, June 15, 2015, the Charleston 9. Did we bring it a little more recent? I yet pray for Mr. Martine's family, because true love does not hurt. True love feels good to the bone. Anybody ever love like to the bone? You love somebody? You truly love somebody? Oh, yes, yes, yes. And when you love, you give without being jealous. True love is not boastful or proud, but it gives generously. I know some of my babies are wondering, well, how does she really look under that bonnet? Why is she looking like that? Have you ever heard of Sojourner Truth? No? Sojourner Truth is one of my favorite friend girls in the whole wide world. She was born in 1797, they think. But you know, during the time, the 19th century, when she was born, they didn't allow black folks to have birth certificates. Some says that she was 86 years old. Some says that she was 105 years old. All we know is that she was a difference maker who believed in justice for all people. Anybody know what her name was before she changed it to Sojourner Truth? No. Isabella Humphrey. Her name was Isabella Humphrey. And she changed it because she said one day she was going to get her freedom, and she was going to go to every man and woman and child who could understand what she was saying and tell them that the truth will set you free. And I'm going to share with you a passage, one of my favorite passages by Sojourner Truth. And it is titled, Ain't I a Woman? You know, after the last session, I stepped on Sojourner Truth's glasses and they're a little bent. So I'm saying, please feel back. They say, oh, don't step on your glasses, but it's something sometimes when you're talking to people and you realize it's not strangers that you're meeting people. And they have you all excited. So I'm going to make do with Sojourner's glasses. I'm glad they're bendable. So if they look a little funny, just say, ooh, she told us what happened. And there are seats up front, seats up front. As I said earlier to the first group, I promise you, if I look hungry, I'm not going to bite anybody. So you can come as close as you want to, as close as you want. Wow, I really stepped on these. They don't look too wacky, do they? And the reason Sojourner Truth is one of the favorite girlfriends of mine in the whole wide world is not only because she spoke the truth, but also because she wanted everybody to be treated fairly. She was a women's rights activist who wanted women to have the same voting privileges as men. And as some of you may or may not know, women were not allowed to vote at the same time as men. So she was a voice to be reckoned with. She was an orator. She was a speaker. She was an author. And I love her because so much of what I do is what she did, and she paved the way for people like me. Well, chum, where there is so much racket, there must be something out of kilter. I think that twisted niggers of the South and the women at the North all talking about rights. What's all this here talk about? The white man gonna be in a fix here pretty soon. That little man over there says that women need to be helped in the carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best place everywhere. But nobody ever lifts me over any mud puddles or over any ditches or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at my arm. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man can head me. I can work as much and eat as much as a man. When else could get it and bear the lashes as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen them most all sold off in the slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? Then they talks about this thing in the head of, what does they call it? Intellect. Yeah, intellect. Now, what's that got to do with any women's rights or niggers' rights? If my cup won't hold but a pint, and yours full of water, wouldn't he be mean? Mighty mean not to let me have my little half measure full? That little man in the black there says that women can't have as much rights as men because Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. Man ain't had nothing to do with it. I tell you the truth. If the first woman, God ever made, was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women here together ought to be able to turn it back right side up again. And now, they's asking to do it. And the men better let them. That's all Sister Sojourner has right now. She obliges y'all and she'll thank y'all. She'll see y'all at another time.
We would like to thank Ms. Calhoun once again on behalf of the Rosa Parks Museum and Troy University. At this point, we're going to open it up to questions. If you guys have questions for Ms. Calhoun or Sojourner Truth, you are free to ask those. If you need the mic, just raise your hand and I'll come give it to you. So it's up to you all now. Anybody, questions, comments?
I see one. I see a couple right there. Thank you.
Hello, what a great performance.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
What were the circumstances for the speech, Ain't I a Woman? Where did she give this speech?
What an awesome question. She gave this speech before a women's conference in Ohio. As I said earlier, some of you may know and some of you may not. Sojourner was a speaker initially for all people. And then she came to the realization that women didn't have as many rights as men. Remember, women were not allowed to vote until after men. She went to, they didn't call them conferences, but they would call them meetings, underground meetings, and she would get word of it about the suffrage and the injustices and how women usually could not come up on the same stage or the platform as men. But they said, with her standing physically 6 feet tall in stature, even when she spoke and met with President Abraham Lincoln, he invited her in, let's have a seat. We may not agree on everything, but we're going to talk about it. So she talked about the injustices and how women were just as important as men, because after all, men came from here. Does that, yes, you're welcome. And you do know, as I told you, her name was not always Sojourner Truth. She took it upon herself to change her own name. Her name initially was Isabella Brumfree. And she vowed when she got her freedom, and many of her children, as I told you, were sold off into slavery. And when she had her infant daughter, Sophia went with her. And she went on to become Sojourner Truth because she went and she traveled nationally speaking and writing. And she said she would go from place to place telling the truth. And that's how she came up with the name Sojourner Truth, because she sojourned, she traveled. I told you she was an author, as am I. She was an orator, as am I. And this is why it is so important that we keep her life and the legacy going forth and forward. How many of you really didn't know until you came here today why we celebrate Juneteenth? At least you're honest. Thank you. It's okay. And never forget, it's because Texas was the last state to receive word that slavery had ended. June 19, 1865. There were massive celebrations last year for the 150th. Let's give a round of applause for Troy University Rosa Parks Museum's inaugural Juneteenth celebration. It's an awesome and an amazing phenomenon when people say, oh, I have a dream or I have a vision. But the greatest good comes when there are individuals and entities and organizations who are willing to pay the price to execute the dream and make the dream become a reality. And because of that reality, we're able to gather at such a lavish place as this, black and brown and white together. Do you feel the celebration? Do you feel the energy? I see your smiles. I hear your voices. Are there other questions? Yes, thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
I'd like to know if she was ever reunited with any of her children that were sold into slavery.
Excellent question. Yes, she was. And I shared with an earlier group what has honored me so much as people and audiences began to understand that I do the reenactment not just during Black History Month, but throughout. That is my livelihood as a speaker. I was blessed to speak before the National Congress of Professional Women's Clubs in Elyria, Ohio. And as I received the Sojourner Truth Award, there was a lady that approached me, and I kept saying, she looks like Sojourner, but you know how they say we all have a double. Well, I found out it truly was one of Sojourner Truth's descendants.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Oh, it was so chilling. And for her to just pour into me what I tried to pour into people. And as I recited Ain't I a Woman, she said to me, she says, I believe she would be mighty proud. And I thanked her because Sojourner Truth stood physically 6 feet tall in stature. And they say that she spoke with a low Dutch voice. And for her legacy to keep living on, I wanted to live on and on and on and on. And to our young people, I hope that you will have the courage and the bravery to do some of what Sojourner did. Speak truth to power. Tell the truth. And they asked her, well, why did you change your name to Sojourner Truth? And she simply said it like this. I talks to God, and God talks to me way out in the middle of the field. She says, and that's what he told me to do. So when you follow his lead and commit your ways to him, then your steps will be truly ordered. And I say to you, if there is something inside of you and it feels like it's just bubbling like brown sugar, Jeremiah said it's like fire that's shut up in my bones. Be willing to write about it, to talk about it, to release, and go to people and say, I may not necessarily agree with you, but we can talk about it. We don't have to pull out the Uzis and the knives and the guns. I'd rather switch than fight. And do like Sojourner did. Create you a cause. Create you a campaign. Because any lady born in 1797 could not determine whether she died at 86 or 105. That's a brave, brave lady. A brave sister that said, in spite of my circumstances, in spite of the travesties, in spite of the adversities that I've been faced with, I'm free now, I'm free. And I've got to tell the world that we can be better today than we were yesterday. Because you are our future, you are our hope. And there is something inside of each one of us that can make us better today than yesterday. I am grateful to see such a diverse audience as in the other audience, because when there is education, when there is awareness, then we can say no longer, I didn't know any better. Because when we know better, we can do better. And I thank you for having me. And I close by saying, when we do what we can't, he will do what we can. And I have a poem that I would like to close with, if there are no more questions, comments. Then it is why we celebrate Juneteenth. Are we all clear why we celebrate Juneteenth? Yes. Good and very good. Juneteenth represents the joy of freedom, the chance for a new beginning. Unless we expose the truth about the African-American slave experience, Americans won't truly be free. Never must we forget our ancestors' endurance,
of one of the worst slave experiences in human history. Every American has benefited from the wealth blacks created over 200 years of free labor, and Juneteenth allows us to acknowledge that debt. To encourage every former slaveholding state to follow Texas and Oklahoma's example and make Juneteenth a state holiday. Every day in America, blacks are reminded of the legacy of slavery. Juneteenth counters that by reminding us of the promise of deliverance. Even on the journey to discover who we are, Juneteenth allows us to reflect on where we've been, where we are, and where we're going as people. Never give up hope is a legacy our enslaved ancestors left. It was this legacy that produced black heroism in the Civil War and helped launch the modern civil rights era. It is this legacy we celebrate to proclaim for all the world to hear. The human rights must never again become subservient to property rights. History books have only told a small part of the story. Juneteenth gives us a chance to set the record straight. Faye Calhoun has enjoyed sharing with you.
As I always say, people find it unfathomable and unbelievable that the platforms I've been before, God blessed me to be born of a deaf mother who was 86 years young and still has never heard my voice to this day. But I will keep on speaking, and I yet pray that one day she will, because just 5 generations removed from slavery, I am my mother's daughter, and the drums of Africa beat in my heart, and they will not let me rest while there is one little boy or girl, man or woman, without a chance to prove their worth. Paraphrased in part by Mary McLeod Bethune, the founder of Bethune-Cookman College. I love you, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers.